That's right. It is a return to Bramall Lane then for a man who took Sheffield United into the Premier League in 2019, and he's got his second account at Sheffield United back up and running as well after a 1-0 win over Brentford yesterday. I'm delighted to say joining us it is Chris Wilder. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Hi,
yeah,
Chris.
Morning, Cass. Morning, Natalie. Sorry, Natalie, it had to be Brentford.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Chris? This is it, though. Cass said to me, don't worry, Chris has said he'll come on. And I'm thinking, oh, brilliant. I'm so delighted that he's coming on after he's beaten our team. But do you know what? Brilliant. And what a goal from James McAtee.
Yeah, it was a special moment. It was a bit of an arm wrestle first half. The conditions weren't great. There was a bit of an hangover from Wednesday night because obviously the amount of effort that the players put into to match Liverpool all the way and take Liverpool all the way was immense. So it was a bit of an arm wrestle in typical Sheffield conditions, but Macca found a moment and we're delighted.
And Chris, reflecting back on the week, you've come back into the club that you have a great association with, and the performance. I've seen both games. I thought against Liverpool, although you lost 2-0, it's a goal right at the death that made it 2-0. You were certainly in the game. Are you really proud of the way your team has reacted to you coming in and then to them two performances?
Yeah, it's always emotional for the players and the staff as well. You know, they've lost a good man as well. You know, Paul did a fabulous job in the 2 years he was here as well. So obviously I know him well. So, you know, it's always a difficult day, but quickly moving on, which they have to as professionals. The messages that we got into them was regarding performance. You know, we're all in it to win, but it was important that we gave the supporters a performance that represented the football club, and we certainly did on Wednesday night, and then we had to marry that up with a result yesterday, and we did that as well.
Have you had to tinker with the way look, Chris, you've always renowned for the way you play and you push your fullbacks on, whether they're a 5 or a 3, you've always played that. Have you felt like you've had to change slightly? Because you've got a different group, although you've still probably got as many as 10 still there that I would imagine that you had as players anyway.
Yeah, you know, there's some familiar faces when I walk through the door and other boys I'm getting to know, but the attitude of the players has been first class to accept myself, Alan. I brought Keith Andrews in, who you know well, and Jack Lester stayed. So the messages are always different from manager to manager. We've changed a couple of things. We played a 4 against Liverpool. We played a 4 against Brentford. So that puts to bed a couple of people that think that it's just 3-5-2 and here we go. So you know, as coaches and managers, we have to coach all different formations. We felt that was the best formation for the players that we got available. We've got some big players out. Delighted to welcome them back in time, but you know, formations, Cass, as you know, it's about your attitude to the game, and certainly the attitude to both games were great from the players.
Taking over a club midway through a season obviously is very different to one in the summer period. So how challenging is it for you? And you've already said that you've been able to impress upon them with the last couple of performances since you've taken over. But how challenging is this for you to try and get Sheffield United out of the position that they're in currently?
Yeah, I understood. I understand. I took over a club last year towards the back end of the season. That was challenging, I'll tell you. Oh dear me, don't start me on that. Anyway,
you brought it up, Chris.
Cheers. No, listen. As I said, it is. But you know, if you know, there's a book out there, First 100 Days by Mickey Mellon. I'm giving him a plug here. And First 100 Days as a manager, it's really good read and it's interesting. And he goes into detail about the attitude of the players. You know, how quickly you can get your messages over, and what groups of the players they are in. You know, players that have you, players that are a little bit undecided, and players that are not having you at all. Obviously, the not having you at all group, they're going. they're in the departure lounge.
Chris,
so I quite like the ones that are having us.
Chris, I was going to ask you, because obviously you were in the Championship last year and there was no VAR, and now you're coming on. My immediate thoughts when you got the Sheffield United job, I wonder when he's going to implode with a VAR decision like every other manager in the Premier League.
After about 26 minutes on Wednesday night. Oh dear me. Listen, it is what it is. You know, I was an advocate of it when we first talked about it. The old, you know,
Yeah.
Last minute penalty at Man United in the 97th minute that he looked at it and went, I'm not sure that's a penalty, but 75,000 punters roaring down the referee's neck to give it. But yeah, I just think, like I said, he's a couple of decisions we've been off the back of. There's one yesterday. The boy never went to deliberately Vinny, but it's not a great challenge, and you just want that consistency. I think Cass, like anything else, you're in a level playing field. You earn the right to be in the Premier League, so you want the same decisions that everybody else gets. So that's obviously my chat with Mr. Webb when I see him this week, because he's a local guy. He must think, I can't believe Chris Wilder's gone back to Sheffield United. He lives in Rotherham, which is about a 7-hour away. Cass, I'm into him every weekend.
Poor Howard. Oh dear. But I was going to ask you about, actually, there was an interesting article in the Times yesterday morning when we were building up to the football coming up, and the headline, if you don't, I'm going to read it to you, Chris, was, "Is Sheffield the most miserable place to watch football?" Now, funnily enough, both Sheffield teams won yesterday, but it had been a bit bleak, obviously. This is your chance to put the case forward for Sheffield.
Wow, Sheffield is my city, and well, Cass enjoyed it when he came up, didn't you, Cass? Right?
I was misled.
Hospitality, mate. Easily led. So, listen, this is a fabulous city. It's a brilliant city, the home of football, as we all know. Oldest football ground. Two great clubs, two huge clubs, and obviously, Sheffield Wednesday have lost the way, and they'll be trying to get back, and we've had a fabulous period from 2016. There's been some one season there where it didn't go well, but for the majority of the time here, for myself and Paul, it's been on the up, and it's a tough gig, the Premier League. We all know about it. We all know what it involves and how strong it is and how powerful it is. So to compete, one of the guys said, if we didn't want to compete, with 5 games to go last year, we should have just turned it in and said, we'll just stay in the Championship, lose the last 5 games, not go up, and not have those experiences like playing Liverpool at home on a Wednesday night, which we're all after and we all love. But this is a huge city and a brilliant city to be involved in.
And like you say, it's your city, it's your club as well, with Sheffield United being back at them. I mean, there was no hesitation when you were asked to take the job on again?
No, there's all sorts of cliches, Natalie, in there, and I'll never go back and all stuff like that. But, once I was, offered the opportunity to go back, when I first took the job in 2016, loads of my pals who are big Sheffield United fans and my family were, looking at me and going, what are you doing? This isn't, a great decision. There's other better options out there for you. But, once I got asked, I would have always thought if I didn't take it, what would I have missed? And, you get down days, and of course it's small steps, but, you get the upside of it, obviously, of getting free bus rides in and out of town when I'm having a beer, which is good, and listen, days like Wednesday night, nights like Wednesday night, and days like yesterday, which was special, and so risk and reward, and I'm going back, and hopefully I can make a difference.
Well, Natalie's done brilliantly well avoiding anything to do with Brentford. Chris, she's done brilliantly well. Are you delighted for a week where you can go and work with your team Monday morning and look forward to the next Premier League game?
They're on a Christmas do, so I don't know when they're coming back.
You didn't get the invite, Chris. What's going on?
No, I'll leave them to it. So, Cass, one of the first questions, it's amazing, isn't it? You look at it, you go, Gaffer, we've got a Christmas do, what do you think? And I'm like, don't put it on my toes. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be the spoiler. Yeah. So, they've gone and enjoyed their night, and we'll be back to work, because obviously there's a load of work to be done. Up to January, and some huge challenges ahead. It's a small step, and we've enjoyed yesterday, but it's still going to be a huge ask and a huge challenge that's in front of us.
Well, you sound like you've got a big smile on your face, managing again, Chris, and you're in the Premier League, so I know you'll enjoy it as well, even with the tough times that sometimes come along with it.
Yeah, I just like the chaos, Cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had far too many afternoons sat on the settee and watching Deal or No Deal and the chase and stuff like that. You know, I just feel as if I've got a personal relationship with Bradley Walsh. You know what I mean? You know, me and Brad, morning, afternoon, Brad, afternoon, Chris. You all right?
Yeah.
Just love the chaos and love being involved with players. You know, you've been involved in it, Cass, from majority of your career and just being around the game that we all love. So yeah, great to be back, and hopefully, as I said, we can do our part in helping the football club.
And you mentioned, obviously, there is a busy December coming up, as we always know, and then there's January and the transfer window. Have you had any discussions about strengthening?
Yeah, we've got a meeting on Wednesday, so I'll ask the question that all managers do. So we'll there's players here, you know, on a serious note that, you know, we might have to move on, and players that, you know, one manager might like and one manager might think, well, you know, we a surplus. So we'll wheel and deal and try and get people through the door, and some might have to go. But I still, you know, I think players come into, and you've been there, Cass, as I said, and Natalie, you've been there. You know, when you talk about Sheffield, when you come to that ground, it's an historic old football ground with a modern feel, and it's you know, why wouldn't you? You know, I've got McElhenney playing for us. We had Dean Henderson playing for us from Man United. So for any young players coming to Bramall Lane, it's a great education.
Ramsdale as well, didn't you?
We had Ramos. Ramos come, and obviously he went and went to Arsenal. So, you know, it's great for young players. You know, the academy's doing great work as well. You know, we had some young players out there yesterday. You know, Andre Brooks, Will Asulo, young boy Sidney Peck from who was at Arsenal as a kid, who's come up north as well. So there's some great work going on in the academy, and they're involved at the moment. We've got a few of the big hitters out injured, so it's all good. It's all good, and hopefully we can keep going.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we so appreciate just taking the time out of Deal and No Deal, or whatever it is you've been watching.
Anything for you, Natalie, and obviously anything for you, Cass.
Smoothie, isn't he, Chris?
Anything for you,
Charmer.
He's a charmer. Oh, dear. Oh, it's been great. Thank you for joining us, Chris.
Cheers, Chris. All the best.
We'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Bye.